Begin. We're good to go.
She's talking to somebody.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I just want to make a few statements to get into the board's minutes and record. We've had 3 board members who've made requests to participate remotely in this meeting. Supervisor Shepard, Supervisor Bone, Supervisor DeMotts. The reasons given for wanting to participate remotely are the same. And the request is based on the ongoing state of emergency declared by the governor due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So in order, their concerns are both with the emergency, both with health, and also concerned about trying to comply with the governor's request to limit the meeting to 10 or less in order to reduce the likelihood of spread or one of the board members at the meeting becoming infected or anyone else there. So they've made a request to remotely participate. It's my understanding that all 3 members can be heard and can hear what's going on at this point, which also complies with the policy. And what's needed right now is a motion and a second and a vote by the 4 members that are physically present, allowing the 3 to participate remotely.
I make a motion that we let the 3 board members participate from their homes. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call roll.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Fizikowski?
Aye.
And 4 ayes.
Ready to roll.
Thank you. And just to double make sure that we have everyone on the line, when I call your name, if you could just acknowledge that you hear us. Supervisor DeMotts.
I'm here, thank you.
Supervisor Shepard.
Daryl.
Supervisor Shepard. Are you there? Okay.
I'm here.
All right. And Vice Chair Bone.
Yes, and to see the live stream, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. All right, next item is invocation and pledge. If the county administrator will lead us.
Mr. Chair, if we could rise for a moment of silence, and then I'll lead us in the pledge. Let us pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item of business is public address. Do we have any public that wishes to address the board? We have none signed up, and seeing none, we will close public address. Next item is addendum.
No addendum this evening, Mr. Chair.
All right, breezing on through, we have no addendum. Items of consent.
I move the items of consent. Mary Biggs.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Who seconded?
Supervisor King. So if we'll have roll call on that.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. DeMotts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepard?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Chair Fizikowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, under new business, our first item is?
Our first item this evening, board members, is a confirmation resolution that confirms my actions last week to declare a local emergency due to the imminent threat of disaster posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. As Emergency Services Director, I could take that action. However, it needs ratification by the board to be official.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. DeMotts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Guzekowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Board members, next item is an ordinance placing into effect temporary changes in certain deadlines and modifying public meeting and public hearing practices and procedures to address continuity of operations associated with the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Guess we could have had that before. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Chair Guzekowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Board members, last item under new business this evening is a resolution to approve an engagement agreement with Sands Anderson PC to represent Montgomery County in connection with litigation challenging the solid waste flow control ordinance.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just to make it clear, the county will be represented by Sands Anderson, as with Miswell. Well, Miswell's not a party, so Miswell would be cooperating with us, and Miswell will be paying the legal fees.
Any other discussion? If we could have the roll.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
I'd like to state something if I could before I vote. I didn't vote for the flow control, but since it did go through here, I will be voting for the firm to represent us. Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Guzekowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right. Next is reports. Reports from the county attorney.
Just to let you guys know, the only thing we've been dealing with probably the last, 5, 6 work days has been this. We've got a lot of support throughout the state, both with the local government attorneys associations and with the Attorney General's office in sharing, what everyone's doing. There's a lot of debate on what authority we have to do. The ordinance you just passed would be very helpful. Keep in mind, we're going to be very limited on what we can do electronically and remotely. And when we do go remotely, we're talking about everyone remotely. Right now, I think the only thing we can do that's upcoming remotely will be a public hearing on the budget, and then adoption of the budget, and then adoption of the annual tax rates, because all three of those are important items in continuity of government for us to continue as a county. And I think under the emergency provisions, those would be applicable to take such action. Another one that could come, hopefully it won't. Hopefully this will be resolved by then, but when it comes time to adopt to do your annual appropriation, which is we have to do
By the
in June.
by the end of
before
June.
July 1.
Yeah.
If we're still in the situation, that also would be something you could do under emergency powers. Anything else at this point would most likely be regular business and can only do it meeting physically. And so what I would suggest is over the next, whatever time we need, is that we put off what we can put off and just try to meet. If we have, when it's time to do the budget hearing and then the budget adoption and the tax rate adoption, we'll do those and then put everything else off as far as we can until this is at least calms down over maybe the next few weeks. I don't know how long it'll take. It could take a while, but
Thank you.
sure.
County Administrator.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I do want to first off thank Josh and Durley and Jen for all their assistance in getting us where we are tonight. The ability to have 3 board members that have called in, the ability to live stream on Facebook, YouTube. We have not had to use this in the past. It's a technology that we may use more in the future, and as the county attorney just mentioned, with things going on right now, over the next 30 to 60 days, we may be getting creative with some things in order to get some business done. Mr. Chair, I would like to ask if the board would provide me support with one item this evening. I wanted to mention to you that Congress has enacted an expansion of the Family Medical Leave Act by adding employees that are unable to work due to a need for leave to care for their children under 18 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As you're probably aware, the governor ordered schools closed for the remainder of the year today. That will fall under this provision. These employees are eligible for family medical leave up to 12 weeks, and for the employer at a minimum to pay 10 weeks of at least 2/3 of their pay. The first 2 weeks are covered under the Emergency Paid Sick Act, which is another enactment where employees are required to pay full amount up to 80 hours. My position is that if any employee of Montgomery County has to be away from work due to this pandemic, that the county provide full pay for that employee up to 12 weeks. That goes beyond what's required in with this new FMLA regulation. Like I said, the FMLA only requires 2/3. But what I'm asking is that the board would allow me to develop a directive, and I'll bring that back to you for your review, but allow me to develop a directive that should county offices have to be closed due to the pandemic, that the county would pay employees up to 12 weeks, which goes over and above what FMLA would require for those employees.
You need a motion? You need a motion for that?
But I would like a motion in a second, simply to have that on the record.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll have a roll.
Okay. Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
I want to thank Craig for bringing this up. It's very appreciated. Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Gajekowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
On behalf of our employees, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, we'll hear from our supervisors. If we could start with Supervisor Shepherd.
I don't really have anything. I just want to say I appreciate everyone's showing for concern for passing my dad and the flowers. I really appreciate it. It's a shock. It just wasn't supposed to happen like it did. But anyway, I really appreciate everybody. That's all.
Supervisor DeMonts.
I also don't have much to say. I appreciate our staff for coordinating this evening to allow us to participate remotely and keep the number of people under 10 in the room. I also appreciate everybody's continued effort to practice social distancing. And I wanted to give a special shout out to Montgomery County Public Schools. I know this was a burden that came on them quite suddenly, and I think their reaction has been incredible. With the lunch delivery program, as well as coordinating getting online and teaching the children remotely when possible. So I wanted to give a special shout out to them. Miss being with you guys tonight, but very glad to be able to participate in this way. Thank you.
Vice Chair Bone, I know it's not the normal routine that we have, but if you want to go ahead.
Sure. I also want to thank the whole county government, as well as our constitutional officers and their staff, for all the efforts that they've been putting in place to make sure that this Montgomery County government continues to run successfully and be one of the most successful counties in all of Virginia. Especially, I would like to recognize Craig for his leadership during this time and his direct staff, because it's been impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Biggs.
I would echo thank goodness we have the leadership that we do in the county, and we have the staff that we have in the county. And I just want to give a shout out to all the businesses in the county. Any way that they can be supported, would be helpful. First responders, you have our utmost support and care, and please stay safe. All the medical personnel that we have across the county doing the various things that they're doing, please stay safe. And then Montgomery County Public Schools, I think, have done an incredible job. And if you look on Facebook, and I've had some personal texts from teachers, they're so disappointed that they can't see their children and their students. So keep those folks in mind too, because it's hard. And I can speak to that. Like if someone had told me I couldn't see my class for a half a year, I don't know exactly how you deal with that. But it was the right decision because we want to keep everyone safe. And so I would echo Supervisor DeMott's with the social distancing, and just go out when you have to go out. And that's all.
Supervisor King.
I'd just like to thank all first responders, law enforcement and all, and Sheriff Pardon. I appreciate each one of you, your staff. I mean, I know how it is when you get out here, you don't know what you're going to run up on. And I want to thank Craig. I mean, I know me and him have had several discussions about employees and all, and it just touches me how much you look after Montgomery County employees. And I appreciate that very deeply.
Couldn't do it without them. Thank you.
And one thing, if you're out here at the stores and you see elderly people trying to get some things, please help them. I mean, there's some items out here that some stores is opening up early, letting them come in and all. And I listened on the news this evening, people are hoarding, pardon my words, but toilet paper. Goodness. And I spoke to some elderly people and stuff, and they have a hard time going out and getting it. So if you could check on the elderly, and I do appreciate everything that everybody is doing to work together on this. I mean, this is something that we have never been up against. And one more thing, and I will say this, I'm not talking politics or anything, I'm just saying it. If DC would get together, we have a lot of people here in Montgomery County and in the whole United States that needs help. So they need to get a package together. Please quit putting your little nicks into it. We need one package. We need to help the working people that are laid off right now. And God bless America. Thank you, sir.
Supervisor Blevins.
To echo all of the other supervisors' statements, I could easily say ditto, but I just want to express my sincere gratitude to our members of the Montgomery County Public Health Task Force for their tirelessly working around the clock. Craig, you've done such a great job, and no better place to serve or live in is Montgomery County, where we truly put our families and our citizens first and our employees. Would like to thank all of our county employees for the dedicated time that they're putting in. I know it's a stressful time, and I know that this leave will help them as well, taking care of the children. To our Sheriff's Department, our first responders, Sheriff Parton, our Christiansburg Police Department, Blacksburg, and state officers all helping out, serving. To Montgomery County Public Schools, the teachers, the staff. I talked to Superintendent Meyer today. I am so proud of what they've done to step up to serve and to always place our children and our families first. Getting the school bus drivers to serve the meals to all students and families, I think that's just wonderful. They've done an outstanding job. To our healthcare professionals, our nurses, our doctors, our CNA working in our nursing homes, I pray for you. I thank you for what you do, your dedication. And again, I've been encouraged by our citizens. We live in such a great area where everybody does come together. I've been encouraged by all the stories and all the inspiration of people helping each other, checking on each other. Again, we live in such a wonderful area, and I appreciate everyone's efforts. And again, stay home, stop the spread, but the love is definitely felt in Montgomery County.
Yeah, it's hard to follow all those comments, but I do want to start with, I really appreciate Josh, Jennifer, and everybody that is involved in putting this together, because I know it wasn't easy. And of course, that includes Vicki and our county attorney, all the preparation he's had to do to get ready for this. And of course, our county administrator, just an excellent job putting this together. We know we can make it work now. We could call this our trial run. I don't know if this has ever been attempted before. It hasn't been. So I guess we'll go down in the history books as uncharted territory here. But I also want to thank the task force. We get fairly regular updates as to what's going on, but we don't hear everything that they're doing and all the plans they're making. And I am very impressed with some of the details they've actually gotten down to, looking at the situation and where it could go. We're all praying that it's going to come to an end soon, but you know, you don't always get your prayer answered the way you want to, so it may take longer and things may change and get more difficult. So we really appreciate them laying down those plans. And with that said, hats off to the school administration. This is something that we knew they were working on, these plans to feed children and plans to get behind the scenes and make sure our kids are getting some education while they're at home. But I am sure that they had no idea that this would be sprung on them that fast. So for them to expedite everything and to pull it off is just, that's just amazing. Of course, as time goes on, if things don't clear up, our businesses are going to be hurting, and I agree with Supervisor King. We all are looking towards the federal government to come to an agreement, and come to an agreement sooner than later, to help out not only our citizens, but our businesses also. And we also know that these are going to be very challenging times for our emergency services. They deal with enough as it is, but now you add this extra layer of a pandemic. It's definitely going to be stressful, and we worry about their health too, because who's going to take care of us when those people get sick? But I'm sure that's something that's being considered. And of course, I include my law enforcement brothers in on that too, that they're going to be faced with a lot of challenges. And we just hope and pray that they work all of that through and keep us safe, as they always have. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Can you save these for the 3 people not here?
We've got tons on.
Okay.